You know, Virgo, you are so powerful that you can even change you. Now, I know most of the time you look at keeping things, maintaining things. But remember what the maintenance is for. The maintenance is not for control's sake. The maintenance is for prosperity's sake. So that, you know, you're the nurturer with the virgin, the purity, the innocence with the growth. That's what the best, most exalted position of Virgo is. This sense of, I'm maintaining this so that we all will always have food. You know, I'm maintaining this so that we all will always have abundance. We'll always have safety. We'll always have an environment where we'll be able to prosper and to grow, to live. I'm maintaining this for life. Not only life, but abundance and happiness and maybe ease. The caveat with that is that we can get kind of too bogged down and we can turn that and twist that, the dark sides, the shadow sides, which are part of all of us. All of us have shadows. We're three-dimensional. If you're three-dimensional, you have a fucking shadow. The shadow side of that is the pitfall of really liking to be in control, really liking to be the one that creates the maintenance, and through that has other people depend on you. And so there's not only control over the circumstance, there's also control over the people who depend on the circumstance. That's one shadow side. The other shadow side is just getting stuck in routine and getting a point to where that monotony, that repetition, that maintenance becomes a caveat or a pathway to laziness, so that we don't have to think about things anymore. We just kind of give it over to the system. A shadow side. It's certainly not the whole thing, but it is a shadow side. Well, they can all exist beautifully. They can all exist in balance. In fact, our sun was set up to basically give us a point where give us a couple of points. There's no shadows in the nighttime, right? Everything's a shadow in the nighttime. And during the daytime, at high noon, there's no real shadow. But then there's shadows every other time of the day. So there's a sense of like, everything naturally is about being in balance. And I guess I've kind of become obsessed with balance lately for my own personal reasons. But for you, what I see here is definitely a sense of a new opportunity to grow. A new opportunity to see something that may look right now as something horrible, or even peering into the actual aspects of your shadow side, which is scary. I think the personal shadow side is worse than any horror movie, worse than any bad news report, tragic news report. It's like to dig into your own shadow side is the most horrifying place any human can go. But right now, you're getting a really beautiful glimpse into the shadow side of yourself that is met with fear, terror, but it's like you're afraid of everything that you see, but you're not afraid of the fear. And that is courage. So you're at a point right now, Virgo, where you are extremely courageous. Because you're looking at your shadow side like, yep, that's me. And you're allowing it to teach you. And as long as you're allowing it to teach you and be like, you know what? I don't like that. And I get to decide ultimately. Not even the sun gets to decide what my shadow looks like. I ultimately get to decide what my shadow looks like and how long it stays around. And no, there's no such thing as getting rid of it completely. And the truth is you wouldn't want to get rid of it completely because everybody needs depth. But you do certainly always want it attached to your feet. Like, think of Peter Pan, right? Like, you don't want it flying around and floating around out of your control. And I think that there's like almost an inquiry now into different aspects of your life that you kind of like hid in your shadow side. Your shadow side in a lot of ways became a personal self-defense unit, something that was so fearsome and so terrorizing that you could terrorize other people with your shadow side in order to hide all the stuff and all the clutter and all the hoarding that you were doing that you didn't want anybody else to see. And that's not part of your shadow side. That's part of sort of the spillover, the outcome, the consequences from the shadow side. But it's just building up in a corner and you don't really know what to do with it. Well, it's time to get rid of it. And the only way to get rid of it is by looking through it and seeing that it's cluttering your life and affecting you in ways that, well, let's just put it this way. You deserve better. You deserve better for you. You know, in order to continue the cultivation and continue growing this is all metaphoric, you know, and continue to growing all the abundance and harvest crops that everybody needs, to cultivate them, to keep them healthy, right, to keep them strong. It's like, oh, okay, I've been taking some shortcuts. I've been using some steroids. I've been sneaking in some pesticides that I know in the long run are really unhealthy. But you know what? Overall, because I'm letting my shadow side get bigger and bigger and bigger, I gotta what I'm not trying to maintain now is not health. It's not abundance. It's not security. It's control. That's not what you're about, really. But it is a shadow side, and it can grow big and big and big and big and big. And get out of control. Your control. And that's really the caveat, the divine blessing that comes from a universe that really does like to stay in balance, is that that shadow side will grow so big, it will tear off your feet. And you will not be able to control it, and it will take control of you. And so in order to maintain control over others, or over what you perceive maintaining control over your life, you've actually built a freaking demon so big that it's now taking control of you. It's blocking out the sunlight. The shadow's overshadowing you. So the only way to take that shadow down is to break down all that crap that you've built up that's creating the bigger shadow. To look through it, to see it honestly, not in self-hatred. Please, not in self-hatred, but in self-acceptance and the understanding that, God, you deserve better than a life in the shadows. Sometimes you want the shade of a beautiful tree. Shade is like the nice shadow, right? It's like the practical use of a shadow. It cools us down. So we need freaking shade. I actually got the opportunity to walk in a desert this summer. It's hot as fuck. Would have been real nice to have a tree. You know? So sometimes, like, shadows aren't bad, you know? Shadows are cooling. You know, we need that. Like I said, we need it sometimes. But when one gets so big that it's blocking out the sun, I also experienced something like that. I also experienced something like that with the forest fires, or the fires out here in San Diego. It's like, I was just telling my friend, there was like ash and soot so high, and for so many miles, it was blocking out the sun. That sucks. Oh my God, just for some forest fires. Can you imagine what Pompeii or Krakatoa had done? Like, oh my God. I mean, it's just like, when you actually break it down to the reality of, if these forest fires, they could just take out these little bits of land, and I know that there were tens of thousands of acres. But even that's little bits of land compared to how much land there is around it. Think about something, an even bigger shadow, an even huger explosion. It just goes to show how very delicate and very precious that beautiful balance is. And it really is your drive in life to maintain health. Virgos are all about health. But sometimes we worry so much about health that we make ourselves unhealthy. What? How does that make sense? Well, this is what you're starting to look at. Looking through, looking at the demon. And in some ways, you're looking at the demon not as an enemy and not as an attacker, but as, well, what are you really? Let me see. I want to know you, because I'm tired of being afraid, and I'm tired of being dominated, and I'm also tired of being in the fucking shade. Okay? I need shade sometimes, not all the time, and it's been too long. And this is how you are developing a new plan, a new strategy, a new logistics layout, which you can revel in. You can actually have a really good time with this. A sense of, oh, I get to plan something different. Maybe I get to use other aspects of myself, right? That I've put away and I have condemned to the shadows. When really they're like knocking on the box. We're not bad. Let us play. Bring us out. You know, I think like just 2 weeks ago, you got bring back your music. Take that instrument or that artwork or paper to write a book off the shelf. There's a sense of, why'd you put that away? Why did that get cut out of the logistics? Why? Keeps the shadows away. Pushing it away and putting it in boxes and shoving it back there just created a bigger shadow. When in reality, that's something that actually brings light and brings joy into your life. So you're going back and saying, I got to look at these things. Most of this shit I don't need. Some of it I actually do. Some of the stuff that I am worried about is not helping me. I got to cast that away, but I don't have to hold on to it. This is the thing, Virgo, that I really want you to know. Just because you decide you can't use it anymore doesn't mean you have to hold on to it for maybe a rainy day. Even those old instruments, right? You didn't have to hold on to them. You could always find another instrument. Your voice. Hello, your Virgo, your communication, Mercury. Your voice is always with you. It's an eternal instrument. For God's sake, your armpit could be an instrument. I'm just saying, like, there are parts of you that are the instrument in and of itself. So you don't have to worry about holding on to something just in case. You bring the growth wherever you go. Because in any situation, you can figure out how to make something grow. How to nurture something, how to heal something. You don't have to worry about not having the resources because you are the resource. So this is like a new strategy based on the fact that, you know what, I have more ability in me than I have given myself credit for. And I'm tired of being suffocated by all these boxes and burdens that I've built up and stacked up against the corner that's overshadowing me, overburdening me, making my shadow grow, making it overcome my life, when in reality, I don't need any of that crap. It's not where I get my power from. I don't need to carry around that heavy burden. You know, I can walk onto a playground with my child without a big old backpack filled with stuff. And I have the mind, I have the ingenuity, because Virgos are very ingenuitive. I have the ability to literally take, somebody falls down, somebody gets a cut, Say I don't even have my cell phone with me. I have the ability to convince somebody to let me use their cell phone. I have the ability to scream for help. I have the ability to know how to make a temporary brace for the leg. You are the people who will know all this. You just the crazy shit that you remember and take in and you have in your own arsenal. You don't have to carry it around with you on your back. It's like your experience itself. There's ingenuity wherever you go. It's what you are, your cultivation. So really what you've been doing in saving all these things is avoiding believing in yourself. It's a change here. There's like a sudden change in who you hang out with. You know, who you're around, who you want to be around, or even just who, like the people or the social aspects that you want to cultivate. The sudden change, you know, leaving, getting away from it all. Like just getting away toward abundance, toward a place where things will grow and prosper, towards something new. Just letting go of these old mindsets or even people that help to cultivate your mindset. It's literally like changing your crowd. You know, a lot of times when we get too controlling, we end up around people who may agree with us, but they're not good for us. And we see, like, I don't know if you had somebody just leave your life, not death, not that way, but like had somebody just like leave your life or move away, and there's a sense of, what are you really afraid of? Are you afraid that they'll forget you, that they won't love you anymore, or are you just really afraid of, will they leave me behind? Because why? Because you don't really want to be left behind. You don't want to be stuck. You want to explore. You want the challenges of really being able to be forced to use your ingenuity and your brain. You want those challenges. You don't want the monotony that you create around yourself because your shadow grows so big. It becomes about control and ease and laziness. That's actually making you miserable. What will help you is basically showing up to your best, being the best version of yourself. Showing up ready and showing up prepared and showing up confident wherever you go. Look at them. All kinds of real certain about you. They look a little pompous. But see, they're certain that love and abundance, especially with this card, this is like take a rest and take a break from the look or the appearance of or the haughtiness of, like, I can do everything. I'm like Earth Mother extraordinaire. You don't have to prove that to anybody. You don't. People don't have to know. You don't have to care. You don't have anything to prove. Except, no, you don't have anything to prove, but you do have to be happy. And there's been some conflicts with happiness. It could be because there are so many changes happening around you. But remember, Virgo, here is how you can get along with change. You can realize that your arsenal is really not in that medical kit you keep in your trunk. Your arsenal is not in that big old makeup bag, and then the pencil bag, and then the like 3-tiered schedule date book that you keep in your purse that makes your purse weigh like 50 pounds. You know, it's like your arsenal is not in that. It's not in any of those things. It's in you. 10 to 1, you already have that schedule memorized. And 10 to 1, you look a lot better without makeup than you think you do. And 10 to 1, you're the person who's watched the survival show that knows how to turn like bee spit and a fucking leaf into a makeshift band-aid and like healing salve. You know, you don't need the band-aid. You know what I'm saying? It's like you have it all in the way that you learn things, in the way that you pick things up. That's where it is. That's where your magic is. It's not in, but see, you're an earth sign and there's the pitfall. It's like, but I need the tangible things that go along with it. I have to work through the tangible. Well, you do have to work through the tangible. And, you know, bee spit and a leaf is the tangible. But the thing is, you have to realize you don't have to carry your own set of tangible with you. You can walk into any situation and figure out how to get the best out of it just because of what you know. Because your real arsenal, Virgo, is your knowledge and your ingenuity. That's your real arsenal. Remember that. The next time you overburden yourself with the need to stay in one place or the need to not try something new because you don't know it well enough. You can't control it well enough. You don't know it well enough. You know you. That's all you really have to know. So I guess ultimately what's happening is there's this sense in you that, you know, this is Piscean energy. There's this sense in you of holding on to the past. Like nothing will ever be better than the past. And the reason why we think that is because the past is, well, basically a fantasy. Did you know that? That the way that we recall things is never accurate. It's always mixed with what we would have liked to happen or what's easier for us to comprehend. Or, you know, it's like the past is a fantasy. It's a figment of our imagination. And that's why we like it so much, because we can control our imagination. Be playful. I think in the past you were happier. You know, you were more spontaneous. You were more interested in testing new waters and seeing new things. I mean, the truth is we're all like that when we're younger. But this is Gemini energy, so it's a sense of really jumping from person to person. And, no, not to diss my Geminis, but I mean, yeah, Geminis experience the world through their personal relationships or their personal conversations with people. Like, that's what they do. That's why they're so great at talking to people, because they love to talk to people. They love to engage people. You were jumping around, engage in different people. Oh, yes, you were. This is double Gemini, baby. You were loving life, baby. You were sharing yourself. You know, there was that sense of getting the nutrients from your experiences, not getting the nutrients from, let's stay here and plant ourselves, you know? No, the nutrients were coming from your experience, from your joie de vivre. Surrender now. This is Sagittarius energy, very opposite energy from you. Just diving in. Just whoosh, I'm not even thinking about it. Splash. Like a moth to a flame. Maybe a specific person. I don't know if you had a Gemini in your life. If so, this was almost like a specific person that was like, oh, you were just so drawn to, so attached to. And you're always looking back as if there's no other experience that could ever happen to you that's as beautiful as that one. But that's your shadow side. Because what it really is just you being scared and you wanting to be in control. And you can control your memories. There was a time when you didn't care, but I'll tell you something that happened. Something changed. Something in your life, in your social circle, maybe you lost a very close friend, somebody that you cared about a great deal. It's like you lost them to death, to moving. They moved away, they dumped you, and boy, oh boy, did it fucking hurt you. This was in the past, though. I'll tell you this right now. And this is almost like fake it till you make it. And instead, what you did was you kind of stopped believing in the spontaneity of life. Because of your fear, your reaction of fear was, I got to be someplace where I can control so that I never have to feel this way again. So now you just kind of like act like you're God, sitting up there dictating everything. And the person who's most isolated and most miserable is you. Because you love life. You are life. You're the cultivation of life. You know, that's why you always like fucking having parties. You do. You love it. You love it. You love it. You love to feed people. You love to entertain people. You love the laughter. You love life. You love it. But somewhere that love started to die with that sense of, oh, if living means I have to hurt, then I'm just going to lock myself away. And that didn't work out very well. That actually left you more susceptible to everything now happening to you. And now that's why everything right now seems like, oh, you know, everybody's moving on but me, or everybody's moving past me, or nobody likes me, or all of those things of watching other people move on. It's not because you can't move on with them. And it's because it's been a long time since you moved at all. Since anything changed or happened for you because you didn't want it to happen for you. So actually you've left yourself, in trying to take more control, you've actually left yourself more vulnerable than ever, because it was in the ingenuity that kept you safest. It was in the spontaneity, it was in the life that you were most safe. But there's this sense of, nope, I'm not going to change, of trying to maintain, like literally, it's like you painted a target on yourself. I'm just going to stay here, okay? Well, then everybody can know where to come find me. Everybody can know where to come rob me. Everybody can know where to come analyze me. Everybody can know. Like, it's just like you left yourself more vulnerable by trying to cut out all those other things that you thought made you vulnerable, like the variables, like the unpredictables, like the spontaneity. That actually kept a little bit of movement, went a long way in your world. Oh shit. Okay, so we have bring a gentle touch. This is youth, this is young. This could be lack of health or the loss of a loved one. This could also be a sense of being really harsh, kind of being very cruel or impatient. Know your worth. No, pretending like you're happy when you're not, trying to cover up your stink, trying to pretend yo stink don't stink. Becoming very judgmental, very biased, very pompous, like almost like kind of preemptively defending yourself by walking into the room like, don't talk to me. Okay, then nobody's going to talk to you and you're not going to meet anybody new. And then when everybody old moves on, what are you going to have? If there's one sign that I should not have to remind about the long-term picture, it's you. You should be able to know and see where this is heading. But a lot of times when it comes to what you're choosing with your own life, you don't actually realize how emotional and reactionary you are. But you really, really are. You're very much like, you are an earth sign, that's true. But you're like the sand of the earth sign. There's constant fluidity to you, right? There's constant shifts to you. There is a natural kind of ebb and flow and moodiness to you. Slow and steady wins the race. It's like everything, all of a sudden, something that you didn't want to realize or didn't want to see, all this truth came out. All this, like maybe somebody like stood up, like maybe somebody shouted at you or yelled at you. All this shit came out. Maybe diagnoses came out. Maybe the truth about what somebody thinks about you came out. It's like all of a sudden, everything came out. And it kind of left you like in shell shock. But you know what it really came out of? All those freaking boxes you've been trying to bury all the skeletons in. They weren't dead. And the last thing something that's alive wants is to be buried, including you. Let's see what the angel cards have to say. It's better to be wrong. It's better to be stupid. It's better to be silly. Shit, sometimes it's better to be arrested than to be abandoned, to be left alone, to be right and safe in a corner, isolated from the rest of the world. Remember that, because I think in some ways you kind of like convinced yourself that it was better to have this sort of, but look how perfect I am. Look how great my life is. Look how right I am all the time. You know, it's better to be proven wrong or debate with somebody than it is to like not have anybody around, because you won't even entertain an argument that you can't win. That kind of thing. It's like people are like right outside my freaking door. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's so loud. Okay, here we go. Archangel Sandalphon is here. I have heard your call for help. Your prayer will soon be answered. Okay. Change. Life is a journey. It will be very unfulfilling if each step was exactly the same as the last, because life is always changing. It is forever fresh and new. Allow your life to unfold gracefully. Be grateful for what was, is, and forever will be. And you know what will forever be? Change. Change is the only constant. It's the only thing you can actually always depend on. Peace. No matter where you are or what you're doing, inner peace is always possible. All it takes is a subtle shift in awareness. Think love and peace will follow. Hey, little Wezzy. And get yourself a dog, because they just make life better. Just a suggestion. Inspiration. A new idea comes to you like a gentle whisper inside your heart. Listen and take action. This is inspiration from high above. And I just saw that card from the Answer is Simple deck. I just saw that card that came out for you, I think 2 weeks ago. You pulling that instrument down from the closet. It's like you're getting inspired, man. Use that creativity in you. It'll help you start to like move stuff around so you're not stuck anymore. Archangel Raphael is here with you. I feel yourself surrounded by my emerald green light. I, Archangel Raphael, offer you healing and solace. The storm clouds will soon clear and the sun will shine eternally bright. Trust. Trust. Isn't that beautiful? I fucking love that. That's just so beautiful. You know, this will pass. The shadow will pass, especially if you take down all the stuff that's putting you in the shadow. Like, right, get rid of all those boxes, the clutter, that's the burdens, right? The baggage, that's the word I'm looking for. The baggage that's causing all the clutter. You know, a good way to kind of like deal with it is to actually start going through your house and getting rid of stuff that you really don't need anymore. You know, give it to a homeless shelter, give it to the Goodwill, give it to, you know, a lot of different places. Like literally start to, like, it's amazing how you can impact your soul by starting with your external, right? And vice versa, right? So there's a sense of now using what's on the outside and all that clutter. It's like time for you, Virgo, to start going through stuff and saying, I don't want this anymore. I don't need it. I haven't used it forever. I don't need it. I don't want it. Get rid of it. I don't need it. I don't want it. Get rid of it. It's time for you to start making a list and getting rid of shit. It's time. And you will be amazed at how that one little thing starts to get the rest of your life flowing and get you ready to move again. Integrity. Be flexible, but also true to you. Stand by your beliefs and values, and others will stand by and believe in you. Cool. But not to the point of stubbornness. Integrity and stubbornness are not the same things. Stubbornness is begot of pride. And integrity is begot of confidence and faith. Mindfulness. Be mindful of another's feelings and needs. Someone needs your love right now. A loving thought is all it takes. Who is it that needs you right now? Is it the person you're asking the most from? Think about it. Gratitude. Make gratitude your new attitude. The stars will shine brighter upon you. All in your world will become lighter. Let's go to tarot. I want to see. Let's get the nitty gritty. Please join me for the extended. The link is below. See you over there, Virgo.